And I'm starting to detect, Cliff, a program shift a little bit over at Fox News. It's been widely reported their ratings are sharply down, particularly for Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity. And as a result, they've started having perhaps more Democrats on that Sean Hannity or Bill O'Reilly can try to sort of fight with. And you know, a good fight can sometimes make for good cable TV. And we saw it again this week. There's Sean Hannity fighting Keith Ellison. But then over the next couple of days, as you point out, when Keith Ellison is no longer there, and he's already established, he's already gotten headlines for this big fight. Then there's Sean Hannity pounding on the guy and calling him all sorts of names, and Ellison's not even there to defend himself. And my argument would be, well, if Fox News really wants to improve their ratings, invite Ellison back night after night, and if you have more things you want to say to him, be a man and say it to his face.
That's exactly right, but Hannity can't do that because he lost and he'll lose again. That's how he plays. I got kicked off his show once, David, about 7, 8 years ago. It was fun. That's what he does if you argue with him and you stand up to him. And it is funny, but I mean, I guess Fox News, it worked for a bit, but when you build your business model on essentially an 103-year-old, 30-pound overweight guy with oxygen on his mouth, only taking it off to eat slices of pizza, and that's your overall demographic, at some point those guys stop existing in as large numbers, and it gets harder to attract people. And frankly, while I'm making fun and I'm exaggerating, their demographic is very old white guys. They don't stay around forever. We have this sort of mortality thing among all of us, and they don't appeal to any of the newer demographic groups out there. So yeah, they're going to keep losing viewers, and I guess they're going to try to invent good TV to try to do it. But as you pointed out, they won't have Ellison back on to respond. They'll only have him on at one time, and then they'll rip him for a week. That's what O'Reilly does with people too.
Yeah, or they'll have some Democrat who's terrible on TV, who's very sort of weak, and so that they can essentially beat the crap out of them. And that's what, that's the Roger Ailes styles. You put up a guy like Alan Colmes, who's not exactly the strongest sort of Democratic progressive voice, but somebody that Sean Hannity could rip apart for several years to essentially ridicule the Democratic Party.
And it furthers their sort of message that this is what a liberal is. You know what I mean? This weak sort of person that won't answer. And Keith Ellison tore that apart. So, oops.
Well, I am going to issue an official challenge to my friends over at Fox News, including Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly, and that is I am challenging you, given that you've destroyed whatever relationship you have with Keith Ellison, somebody who I think would be great challenging Sean Hannity on a regular basis or Bill O'Reilly is our own Cliff Shuster. So, Cliff, I am hereby appointing you our ambassador to Fox News, and I encourage Fox News to book you on their show. Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, if you want a real, honest debate that would also be great television and would also be smart, book our man Cliff Shuster. Cliff, you will take it to them, and Sean Hannity won't know what hit him.
It would only be too much fun to do that regularly, and I, of course, have to extend the invitation back and say that another fantastic person would be David Shuster, who doesn't take anything from those types of people, as we learned many times as a radio host and TV host. I would love to see you up against these guys, bringing a little truth to them. It could only be too much fun. Already establishing yourself as easily one of the best radio hosts out there. And
you're too kind. You're too kind. Well, Cliff Shuster, have a great weekend, my friend. Always a pleasure talking with you. And by the way, special thanks not only to Cliff, but also to our friends at Crooks and Liars for putting up some of the clips. Cliff, have a great weekend.
Amen. Thank you. You too, buddy.
Take Action News with Daniel Mann.